Alrighty, my beauties, we are back at Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights Day 3. I didn't come out here for Day 2 yesterday because I heard it was pretty bad, so I decided to take the liberty of relaxing, going to the beach and whatnot. So today is Sunday the 3rd. It is also my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, sis. So we have 3 primary objectives tonight. First objective is to finish off the houses. We have to do Chucky and Dr. Oddfellow. I've heard mixed opinions about Chucky, and I've heard nothing but great things about Dr. Oddfellow. Objective number 2 is to watch Halloween Nightmare Fuel. I watched Halloween Nightmare Fuel last year. As much as I liked it, yeah, I will keep saying it forever and ever. Parents, do not take your children to see this. And objective number 3 is to film more of the scare zones, because yeah, after watching back Friday's vlog, yeah, I was very disappointed with how all this stuff turned out. So hopefully I can redeem myself this time. Now, as always, if you guys enjoyed tonight's vlog, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Let's waste no time whatsoever. Let's head on in and have some fun. Now, I was gonna wait outside for the scaremony, but I'm like, yeah, it's not even 4:30 yet, and I really don't feel like staying in this heat any longer than I need to. This is where we're going. We're going to Richter's. Look who it is. Ben, where's your food? This Stay and Scream area, what did you say it was for? Chucky and what else? Is it just Chucky? No. Okay. Well, I said earlier that was one of the houses that I needed to do to finish off my checklist, and Ben needs to do one more house, Dr. Oddfellow. Honestly, I think these objectives are gonna be pretty easy to complete.
1 hour later.
Making our way to our first house of the night, Chucky kill count. What would you rank it in terms of whatever out of 10?
I'd put it at 8 for now.
Okay, for now. That's a good point to make because, mind you, we're only 3 days into this event.
Oh wait, are we gonna get to see the family before we see Chucky? A little bit.
Oh! We're in the family room. Sure smells like family in here.
It does.
Oh geez, I didn't even realize that the entrance is right up there. This is my first time experiencing a Chucky haunted house, so let's see how it goes.
5 minutes later.
Alright, let's talk about Chucky real quick. I enjoyed that house. In terms of that space, it's always gonna be a short house, whether you want it to or not. If you guys remember last year, Blumhouse, short house. What was cool about last year is that because they're divided into 2 different sections, they were able to use 2 different Blumhouse stores, which was cool. This time around with Chucky, they kind of did the same as well. The first was kind of like based more on the series, if you will, than the second was more around like the holidays and church and whatnot. It was a really cool house. So I think if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it like a good 7.5 out of 10. I will tell you guys right away, these scare zones already have loads more life to them compared to how they were on Friday. And mind you, we're only an hour into this event, and these scare zones, mwah, fantastic so far. Vamp 69, definitely a good scare zone. And also, you might have seen a certain someone in there. So I guess let's just keep this attitude rolling. Let's move on to the next scare zone. It's always the Hollywood area that holds the best scare zones. I said it last year, but I said it the year before too. Honestly, I think this scare zone, the Dark Zodiac area, is definitely gonna be my favorite this year. All right, my lovely beauties, Jungle of Doom. Normally, these scare zones in the Central Park area, they tend to be very small. This year, yeah, it's really no exception. My issue with this year in particular is the fog machines. At nighttime especially, it's gonna get very foggy. So just please keep that in mind. This time I found it a little bit safer given that we still have a pretty good amount of daylight going. But at nighttime, yeah, just please walk through there with caution. In terms of the scare zone itself, really good scare actors. The costumes in here are are usually my favorite. Last year's were great. 2021's, I don't really remember that much from it. Last year I remember it was like the haunted barn, but this year is also no exception again. These costumes are just magnifique. So I think if I could rank this scare zone out of 10, I'd give this a solid 8. One thing that's interesting to me this year is that there's essentially 2 safe zones. We got The Simpsons and we got Minion Land. Now Minion Land, I basically predicted. Simpsons, I was kind of on the fence about because last year this area basically just housed all the Chainsaw characters. There was nothing really special, nothing really extraordinary going on, but this year it's pretty much a full-on safe zone, which I would say is a pretty good thing. But that's also to take into consideration the fact that Diagon is no longer a safe zone and now houses the Death Eaters, which I wouldn't even consider that to be a scare zone because those Death Eaters aren't really there to scare you. They're there more or less to interact with you, which is a really, really cool thing. Our second house of the night and the last house that we have to do, Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. Now, I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself, but from what the house itself looks like, it's basically a haunted circus, which is very, very interesting. Something very unique this time around. So let's go check it out.
Much later. Much later.
Wow, that was amazing. You know what? That's getting a good 9 out of 10. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna bump Dueling Dragons down to number 4 and put Dr. Oddfellow at number 3. I would say that that is the best original house this season. Now, I will say right away, if you're not a fan of clowns, yeah, you're not gonna have a fun time in that house. But for me at least, I thoroughly enjoyed every single bit of that. The costumes were great, the sets were great, the scares, those were great too. Like, there were just scares left and right. Like, there was really no mercy being shown in that house. This Peacock Halloween Horror Bar is probably the most interesting bar experience you could have. I'm not gonna go in there and get anything because of course I don't really drink that much, but in terms of the experience itself, it is something. I didn't film it the other night because I just wanted to take in all that was happening. Now, here's the thing. This is easily the busiest bar I've ever been to, the busiest theme park bar. Now, I've heard that the drinks they have are pretty good. I've seen these drinks firsthand. They look pretty good, and from what my friends have said, they taste pretty good too. Will I go in there and get myself a drink at some point? Probably, but at the moment, I don't really have an interest in it. Now that we are inside in the nice, cool AC, let's talk about Shipyard 32. It is a small scare zone. Let's get that out of the way first. The San Fran area, it's always kind of hit or miss. Like last year, it was pretty good. This year, however, I don't really know. It's scary. The costumes, again, absolute top-notch this season, as they always are. But it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of scare actors. And again, I know that's just to do with the amount of space that they have. So if I could rank this one out of 10, I'd give it a modest 6.5. I should also mention too, it is extremely dark over there. So forgive me if the shots don't look as good as they probably could be. Now, in terms of Halloween Nightmare Fuel, last year's was really good, but now I'm hearing that this year's tops both of them from last year and the year before. So I'm actually very excited about it. Oh, also, Alex is here too, and he's also vlogging. Where's his camera at?
Down here.
Down here. Yeah, go check him out at Park Twister.
20 minutes later.
All right, y'all. Well, I think we're gonna call that a night. It is almost midnight, which means it is way past my bedtime. But really quickly, we're gonna talk Nightmare Fuel. Better than last year, I will give it that. Once again, please do not take your children to see that. I saw multiple children in there. Hopefully, they're okay after watching all that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. The choreography, some of, if not the best choreography I've ever seen in any sort of stage show. So definitely a top-notch show, top-notch performance. But now it is time I go home and go to bed because we start a new week and I have to go to the gym in the morning. Alrighty, my beauties, let's talk about these scare zones real quick. And by real quick, I mean really quickly. Here's my ultimatum in terms of the scare zones. Some of them are better than last year's, but unfortunately some of them aren't. And we're just going to start with my favorite scare zone, Vamp 69. I would have said Dark Zodiac, but now that I think about it, I think I liked Kettlewood Cemetery more. That was last year's scare zone in the Hollywood area. So I think this year's favorite of mine is going to be Vamp 69. The best way I can describe that scare zone is that it's a vibe. It really really is a vibe. But also one of my friends just so happens to be these characters in there, so that's also a +1 for me. Now, I think if I had to rank these scare zones, obviously number 1, that's gonna go to Vamp 69. Number 2, I would probably say Jungle of Doom. Now, last year, that area was the haunted farm and whatnot. That was a cool scare zone. But this year, I think the reason why I like Jungle of Doom more is because of the costumes. Those costumes, oh my goodness. I think those are easily the best HHN costumes I've ever seen. Again, just so beyond intricate, so beyond colorful. It was great. I think number 3 will probably give to Dark Zodiac, just because, again, not my favorite. I mean, I liked Kettlewood Cemetery more last year, but this is still a good scare zone. The scare actors are, again, really cool. I would say the miscellaneous part of it is really just the chainsaw actors, because they were just kind of like, meh. And number 4, I would have to give to Shipyard 32. That one for me, I mean, obviously, it's gonna be the smallest scare zone, so there's not really a whole lot going on. That area just got way too packed. It was very, very difficult getting some shots. I'm surprised I was able to get the shots that I did in this vlog, so again, just bear with me with that throughout the season. These shots are very, very difficult to get. And then number 5, if you really want to call it a number 5, is the entrance scare zone with Dr. Oddfellow. I don't really know how to describe it. It's cool. Yeah, you get to see Dr. Oddfellow, but that's really it. So all in all, great scare zones. Again, some of them are better, some of them are not. And unfortunately, I feel like that's going to be the case every single year. So with all that out of the way, we do this every single week, so make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Alrighty, my beauties, I love y'all. Take care, and I'll see y'all next time.